Welcome back to my kitchen here in Brittany, France. And I just got back from the market and I saw these oranges. They're so unique and different. And I just knew I had to do something with them for you. They're just beautiful, but what are they? Oh my goodness, when I saw these at the market, I knew I had to do something with them. What are they? They're a little different. They're called blood oranges. They're from Spain. Now, France is the size of Texas. So for my Americans who are watching, this is like the next state over, right? France is not that big. And so having fresh produce from neighboring countries is really typical. And the recipes though today, you can use any oranges. It's an affordable way of creating some spring-like textures and flavors. And so what are we doing? We are doing two recipes. Today I'm going to share with you a one-pan roasted chicken. Oh my goodness, and it's got an amazing sauce over it. And I promise you, it's easy, it's affordable, about $2 per serving. And then we're going to do an almond cake with these blood oranges. Again, you can use regular oranges, and that's going to be in the next episode. So grab your skillet, my dear friend, because we are going to make a one-pan roasted chicken with an orange, thyme, and Dijon mustard sauce that is going to wow all of your friends and family. Here are the ingredients for our one-pan roasted chicken with orange sauce, but I had to share with you these beautiful daffodils that I just cut. They're wild daffodils. Is that just not perfectly spring? I'm so excited. Over here is my roaster chicken, and if you think he's a little on the small size, well, you would be right. I'm going to share with you at the end of this video what the difference is and why you might want to choose one of these, a coquelet, when you are visiting France or living here. Meanwhile, other ingredients include our onions or shallots, and I'm also adding in some garlic, butter, honey. We've got some Dijon mustard, rosemary or thyme, just depending upon what you have, oranges. Here I've got my blood oranges, but you can use any orange or citrus. And we've got the choice of some white wine, or you can use chicken stock. And what we're going to do first is we are going to prepare our chicken. Now, make sure your hands are washed really clean. You can do this with gloves on or not. I don't use gloves. I've got some olive oil, some rosemary because I did not have time, and some garlic, butter, some salt, and some of the blood oranges. Now I saved the nicer cuts and pieces for just decorating it later on. These are some of the pieces that weren't so pretty. I'm gonna put that inside the chicken, so it doesn't matter what they look like. They can be kind of odd shaped. So let's do the chicken part together. I'm going to use my olive oil before I get my hands dirty, and I'm just going to pour a nice generous helping, maybe about a tablespoon. I do more, probably 2 tablespoons if you had a normal sized bird. Now it's time to get my hands a little dirty. I'm just gonna rub the olive oil all over, inside and out. If it came trussed, which is where you have that piece of twine or a string tied around it, just make sure to take that off. This chicken has already been cleaned inside and out. Now the first thing I'm gonna do, if you haven't learned this trick before, might be a little bit odd at first, but what you do is you take from this neck side, right? The biggest opening. This is the smallest. This is where his little legs are at, and you're gonna pull the skin back gently. Do you see how it easily separates between my fingers up underneath? Now there's 2 cavities here. The backbone runs right here, and you do this on either side. Why am I doing this? This makes the chicken skin really crispy. If you like a crispy chicken skin, this is the trick for getting that, okay? The other thing you want to do is understand how the chicken is supposed to cook. This is the back right here. This is the breast. You can see it's all kind of puffy, and you can see there's two. 1, 2. You always cook a chicken breast side up. All right. Now, because my hands are dirty and I've already separated everything out, this butter is all going to go in and around this chicken. So this is the reason why I created those cavities, is you take a piece of butter and you shove it up underneath there. And what it does is it traps the butter beneath the skin and cooks it, and slowly it starts to melt down into the breast, keeping it nice and moist, and also continues down into the rest of the cavity of the chicken. And goodness gracious, that sure makes a big difference. So you do that for both sides. Here I am just putting the butter up underneath. It just grab a little chunk. It doesn't have, it can be as much or as little as you want. Okay. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take a little bit more butter and put it in the cavity. I'm putting it inside the bird, along with whole garlic. Everything goes in the garlic. My rosemary goes in there. Finally, some orange slices go in. Just rub the outside of the chicken entirely with salt. You can also put some on the inside of the bird if you like. And there we have it. Our chicken is ready to go into the oven. You are at step number 3 already, my friend, and here is my antique cast iron that my grandmother passed down to me, and I'm using this as my one skillet that's going to cook everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this chicken inside of it. I'm going to choose to put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom just to make sure that it doesn't stick. I have a few extra oranges left, so I'm just going to plop the chicken straight on that. Almost like a roasting rack. And there we have it. If you want, put a touch of pepper on top and pop it into the oven. This is going to cook for about an hour, depending upon the size of your bird. Now, what I want you to do first is take your chicken and move him off to the side for a little bit. And we're going to make our sauce. Welcome back, my dear friend. We are at step number 4. Now, I had a little bit too much fat and drippings off the chicken, so I poured off some of that extra, and I've got about a tablespoon. But you want to leave all those crispy bits because that is going to be part of the sauce. So over about medium heat, we're going to work on bringing these drippings up to temperature. I'm scraping off a little bit of these nice little crispy bits off the bottom. This pan's already pretty warm, so we don't have to do a lot to it. You can hear it's already starting to heat up. And we're going to take either half of an onion or our shallots and put that in the pan. You're going to saute these onions for about 2 to 3 minutes, just until they start to soften up. These onions are turning brown because of the drippings and all the goodness on the pan, but they're not frying. So if you feel like your onions are cooking too fast, just turn down the temperature a bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add in chicken stock or your white wine. And I'm going to switch from the spatula to a whisk. You see these little bubbles right here? That's a nice simmer. We don't want it to cook down too fast. And this will take about 2 minutes. Next, we're going to add in our orange juice. Since this was blood orange juice, it's this beautiful color. So pretty. About a tablespoon of honey and about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. And you're going to whisk all of this until it's smooth. What do you think, my friend? How are you doing? You're going to whisk the sauce until everything's sort of incorporated, and then bring this back up to a simmer, and then you're going to reduce it, meaning that the liquid is going to cook down for about 3 to 5 minutes. We just want all those flavors to really come together, and that's done through the reduction process. You don't want this to boil, but you want it to be at kind of a fast simmer and cook down, and you'll need to stir it every once in a while so it doesn't burn the bottom. And then finally, the last step I want you to do is turn off the heat and add in a little bit of butter. Because this is France, right? And what this does is it adds a layer of richness and just, oh, buttery goodness, right? I mean, why not? You'll want to try the sauce and see if you like the flavor of it. If it feels like it's missing something, you probably want to add in some salt and pepper. But just be careful, a little bit at a time, not too much, because it definitely picked up the salt from the chicken on the outside of it. Okay? Cut in half, the coquelet is a perfect single serving, and with the brightness of the orange, it is such a beautiful little dish. You could serve it with some creamy garlic mash or some roasted potatoes, a nice crispy baguette. It's the perfect way to end a beautiful weekend. Speaking of which, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, my dears, and that you enjoy cooking in the kitchen with me. I'll see you next time. Real quick, I promised to share with you the difference between a coquelet and a roaster chicken that you might find in the United States. A coquelet is only 6 weeks old and about a half a kilo or 1 pound, whereas your typical roaster chicken in the States is usually somewhere between 3 and 5 months old and between 5 and 7 pounds or 2.2 to 3 kilo. I choose this type of bird because of its size. It's very practical for me, but I also find the flavor to be better and more like what I am used to back from the States. The older chickens here that are more of that typical roaster size tend to have a higher fat quantity. They're greasier and they are leaner. So try a coquelet. You can find them in the grocery store, often near the poultry section or maybe near the ducks, duck breast, and you might find a new favorite when you're here cooking for yourself in the beautiful country of France.